Did you ever put something to bake in your foundry and just sat there looking at the bar as it slowly and painfully loads? Yeah, that was me with my first Prime weapons, and you know what? I was not disappointed. It was a pair. I made the Lex Prime at the same time I made the Breton Prime. And even though they weren't as powerful as I thought they would be, today I want to throw some light on an old classic that I still absolutely adore and not a whole lot of players use, namely the Desert Eagle of Warframe, the Lex Prime. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Lazar, and today we're going to be diving deeper into this Mastery Rank 8 secondary weapon. As per usual, I'll showcase a cheap build, something affordable that most Tenos should be able to build, and then we're going to slowly ramp it up with Prime mods, Rivens, basically max out the weapon and see what it's truly capable of when you have everything at your disposal. That said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides usually take a new player friendly approach. I'm going to be taking my time and explaining whatever I feel is necessary for newer players. So in case you're a vet and you already know most of this stuff, you can either skip ahead or reminisce with me. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Lex Prime. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped. And for that, just a couple of free shots. The Lex Prime is a pretty straightforward and simple secondary weapon. This is a deagle, my friends. It's the Desert Eagle experience. So shot by shot, hell of a recoil. It kicks like a bloody mule, but it also delivers quite the serious punch. And you also got quite the hefty reload with only an 8-shot magazine. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to rapid fire this puppy, it goes something like this. The recoil kinda lines up to the head of the target depending on the distance between you and your target, of course. But perhaps what is most satisfying about the Lex Prime is the sound. Let's turn up the volume so you can hear this glorious, glorious sound effect. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's nothing overly fantastic, yet somehow it's so subjectively satisfying. Listen to this. Let me turn down my speakers to make sure I don't blow out your eardrums. And action. How's that? Absolutely bloody amazing. At least if you ask me, I absolutely love the sound of this glorious, glorious weapon. Now my friends, let's have a closer look to see what we're dealing with. Mod capacity 60 out of 60, and if your comes with only 30 out of 30, jump into actions, plug in that auto king catalyst, double that mod capacity. Is it worth? It's a touchy-feely subject for me because, again, the Lex Prime is a very special secondary weapon to me, but from an objective point of view, no, it's not worth. I can think about at least 10 secondary weapons which are more, like straight off the top of my head, 10, 15 secondary weapons which are more powerful. If you play the Lex Prime, you play it for nostalgia, you play it for the feel, you play it simply because you like this style of weapon, not necessarily because of how effective it is. So if that's what you're interested in, my friends, if you just want, oh, meta and all whatnot, just swing a melee and you will be done with that. Now when it comes to forma, mine has 5 forma. It's not a forma heavy weapon even though mine has 4. I believe you can get away with 2 depending if you have a Riven or not. You have a Riven, you might want to go to 3. The weapon Plexilus or Exilus slot, now this one is 100% worth unlocking in the case of the Lex Prime because again it does kick like a mule. So if it kicks like a mule and it is a hit scan weapon, then the solution obviously is steady hands. Now 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago when I first reviewed this weapon, this was a compromise. You had to put steady hands in one of the normal mod slots or control the recoil, which was difficult especially with a fire rate mod on the weapon, something like Lethal Torrent, right, which you gotta have. Nowadays, thankfully, we do have this mod slot, and in some weapons cases this is entirely pointless and useless, but in other weapons cases, such as the Lex Prime, is definitely a worthwhile addition. The accuracy is 16. If you're confused about the accuracy system in Warframe, rest assured you're not the only one. This is a pinpoint accurate weapon. You point, you shoot, you win. As long as you can aim, you'll get your headshot. And no Magnum Force is not recommended because the bullets go completely off the crosshairs. The Lex Prime used to be fabled for its accuracy, and still it's a pinpoint accurate weapon as long as you don't use something like Magnum Force. Critical chance, 25%, solid. Critical multiplier, 2.0x, solid again. So definitely we're gonna take advantage of Prime Pistol Gamba and Prime Target Cracker. But initially we're gonna use normal mods because let's be honest here, not everybody has Prime mods. If you're Mastery Rank 8, I don't even know if you have any Prime mods whatsoever. The fire rate is 2.08, it doesn't really matter as long as you have that Kiki recoil. Magazine of 8 noise alarming, a reload of 2.3 seconds. That's an issue. That is an issue with the Lex and with the AK Lex as well. I don't believe this weapon deserves such a long reload. How was about a 1.8 DE? If it's a negotiation, can we go down to 1.8? You offer 2 and I'll be happy with that. Huh? Come on, it's not like it's a super meta weapon, because it's not. Riven disposition, 4 out of 5. Not a lot of players use the Lex Prime because, like I said, it's not the most efficient weapon in the game, but there's not any weapon that can match the feel and even the look of this absolutely glorious old school Prime weapon. Status chance 35%, again solid, but considering how fast you fire, 30% would be nice, but again, it is solid. Trigger semi as you saw before, and the damage is going to be largely puncture. A little bit of slash and a little bit of impact just to piss me off. Now, the puncture is very important in Warframe because it deals extra damage to heavily armored targets, so bear that one in mind. Total damage per bullet, 150. For a secondary weapon. Now that's absolutely huge. There's a lot of primary weapons which don't have this kind of damage, but the rest of it kind of balances out. So let's have a look at a standard build, shall we? And you got damage with Hornet Strike, multi-shot with barrel diffusion, as well as lethal torrent, critical chance, critical damage with pistol gamp. And you got damage with Hornet Strike, multi-shot with barrel diffusion, as well as lethal torrent, critical chance, and critical damage combo between pistol gambit and target cracker. 260-60 mods, pistol pestilence, and jolt forming corrosive. And of course, in the weapon plexilus or exilus slot, you have steady hands with minus 60% weapon recoil. Pretty much par for the course. I'm sorry about jolt. Listen, if you're mastery rank 8 and if you don't have jolt, then you might as well go for a different elemental combo. You don't need to go for corrosive. Why don't you go for viral instead? Unless you're going to Deimos, in which case you gotta go for corrosive, so use the 90% electricity mod instead. You can go for something like frostbite. Alright, Jolt can only be obtained from Battleketeer the Void Trader, and he brings the 60-60 electricity mods once every 2 months or so. It really depends. If you're impatient and you got a little bit of plat because you farm like a champion, or you have the pockets, you can just buy it from the trade chat. Prices depend on when Battle brought Jolt last time. And if you see him bring the 60-60 electricity mods, prioritize Jolt and Voltaic Strike. The other two can be farmed from the game, even though it's a pain, so make sure you have all 4 of them. Final mod slot. What should we plug into this one? Well, you can go with Punch Through. Honestly, Punch Through in Warframe is a form of AoE, so you can go with Seeker and 2.1 meters worth of Punch Through. This means your bullets will be going through the initial target, keep traveling, hit multiple. As long as they're kind of in a line or clumped up together. For example, maybe you have a Vuban that can put them all together, or maybe you have a Nidus and you shoot Nidus's targets, which will cause the Nidus to kill haul you. So there you go. Make sure to apologize. Another option for this one is to go for another 60-60 mod, and that would be Heat with Scorch, 60% Heat, 60% status chance, again, easy to obtain if spy missions, I think, this one, or 510 plat from the trade chat. But what I enjoy doing with the Lex Prime is going a little bit more into critical chance, because at the end of the day, again, it's that Deagle experience, and I want to go with hydraulic crosshairs. This one will get you more critical chance on headshot. And make no mistakes, my friends, you gotta go for a headshot when you're using the Lex Prime, being a critical weapon. But again, into this one, you can plug pretty much whatever you want. Now let's make sure that Rhino Prime doesn't have anything to skew the test results. We have no corrosive projection, that's fine. Totally fine, and no sentinel whatsoever. Now, my friends, we're going to be spawning in Corrupted Heavy Goons level 120, the ever so lovely benchmark, the same benchmark I did almost 3 years ago in 2018. We're going to go shot by shot, and then we're going to unleash full fire rate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. Got a couple of slashes on that there target, and I do believe it's going to kill it off, as you can plainly see. So this one, my friends, still packs quite the punch. Now, if you're mastery rank 8 or 9 or 10 or 12, you shouldn't really see targets which are this high up, so don't worry about it. The Lex Prime, I said it before, I'll say it again. The Lex Prime is most satisfying when you can one-shot your targets. When you manage to hit that headshot just right and you one-shot your target. But that's not gonna happen with level 120 Corrupted Heavy Goons simply because these guys can mitigate a lot of your damage. They're equipped with ferrite armor and that keeps mitigating your damage. If they were 50, 40, 50, something like that, you could get a one-shot out of the Lex Prime. So how's the performance, my friends? Well, like I told you from the get-go, it's not fantastic. Is it terrible? Of course it's not terrible. Is this pretty good for an MR8 weapon and for your first prime secondary weapon? If it was your first prime secondary weapon, like this was my first prime secondary, I guess that's why I'm not being objective about it. I'm sorry, I got an emotional attachment to this weapon. What can you do? The performance is decent. It's decent at best. So what we can do, we can put on prime mods, right? When it comes to secondary weapons, we do have prime mods. We got prime target cracker, big difference on that one from 3.2 to 4.2 critical multiplier, and prime pistol gamba. So now we're getting into the more expensive mods, right? This is your like MR15, 16, something like that. You should have these mods. Maybe you don't have them fully maxed out, all right? It's not a crime to not have fully maxed out mods. Whatever people tell you, 1, 2 from the top will be fine. Oh, you're MR25 and your mods aren't maxed out. Shame on you. Shame on you. Now that I shamed you, we're gonna go back and retest the weapon with prime mods. Critical chance went from 55% to 71 point something. One more time. Corrupted Heavy Goons level 120. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, mama, please. Harder. I love this gun. It's fantastic. It just feels right. Don't get me wrong, again, it's not that powerful of a weapon. It can't be considering what he did with the meta, but it's just so satisfying to use. And again, I have an emotional attachment to it, so I will praise it. I will praise it for how it looks. I will praise it for how it sounds. I will praise it that it feels impactful even if I took the recoil away. Believe it or not, or you should be able to tell this by now, but even the recoil plays a part, right, when it comes to how impactful a weapon is. You know, you fire your weapon, it goes all over the screen, and then it does like no damage to the target. Like, what? But that's not all, my friends. There's still one more thing that I can do to further amplify, well, two more things that I can amplify the power of the Lex Prime. First of all, it's not that popular of a weapon anymore. Boo freaking who? Powerful Rivens, my friends. Take a look at this one. Critical chance, damage, multi-shot, minus zoom. I mean, come on. It's beautiful. I don't know if it could roll minus impact. If it could roll minus impact, definitely I would take minus impact over the minus zoom. But this is amazing, man. I'm going to 117.7 critical chance without hydraulic crosshairs. My damage is off the chain. 8,000 damage. Take a look. Look from this. Look. 2,956. 8,000 something. And of course I could pump it up with 90 mods, but trust me, if you're thinking about it, it's still not a good idea. What D did with the changes of January 2020, they essentially kind of killed off 90 mods for primaries and secondary weapons. Attaboy D. Free puck shots, Laser. Yeah, I'm still waiting on a fix, by the way. 135.5 multi-shot. That's so good. I love this gun. I love this Riven. It's not mine. Of course it's not mine. They never are mine. This is a loaner from a friend, and thank you so much for loaning me this one, buddy. So let's see what it can do with the Riven. Once again, 60-60 corrosive mods in this one. 1, 2. Oh, baby, it's dead. It's gone. It's now dead. So we started off from 10 bullets to kill a target. 8 to 10 bullets, depending on how lucky you were. And now we're at just a couple of bullets to completely blow up a high-level target. And say what you will, 120 corrupted heavy goons are pretty high. Yes, you can go higher, but the way that armor scales nowadays and health, it doesn't really matter as much as it used to. It doesn't matter from level 75, 80 onwards. That is beautiful. I mean, doesn't just bring a tear to your eye. The Lex Prime kicking arse once again. Love it. Absolutely love it, man. I love this gun. So rest assured, if you have the resources and if you want to pour everything you got or everything that you can get into this weapon, you can still make it pack a serious punch. You can still make it into a respectable secondary weapon. As I said at the start, no, it's not worth it because again, I can think of like 10-15 weapons which are more powerful. But again, if you're playing the Lex You're not playing it for the power necessarily. Now, bump up everything with Warframe buffs. We're so close to the one-shot. Of course, we can get the one-shot with Lady Mirage Prime. But let's adjust the fashion. I think this will serve it better. When it comes to Warframe buffs, by this point you guys should know, you gotta go with corrosive projection against heavily armored targets. And when I say you gotta go, I mean more like you should go. You're not forced into it. You know what? You wanna use your energy siphon? Use your energy siphon. But yeah, corrosive projection is meta, or whatever else you guys want. As for arcanes, we're gonna go with a combination of Arcane Precision and Arcane Avenger R5. These are farmed from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. If your MR 8, 9, 10 and these slots are locked, progress further through the story and you will unlock them. And if you don't want to farm Eidolons, for whatever reason, you don't like it, you find it intimidating even though it's a whole lot easier than it used to be, these are tradable, right? So you can buy them from the trade chat, and yes, they are worth it. Especially Arcane Avenger R5. From my humble point of view, this is the most powerful offensive arcane in Warframe. 21% chance on damage for a 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. This is a bonus additive after effect. It simply stacks on top of what you already have. And it applies to your primary, secondary, and to your melee as well. Absolutely outstanding. As for our secondary arcane, Arcane Precision, this one is a bit more straightforward. On headshot, 100% chance for 300% damage to pistols for 18 seconds. It should say to secondary weapons, but there you go. 300% extra damage. And trust me, these arcanes will make one hell of a difference. We're gonna be spawning in level 155 Corrupted Heavy Goons. I bumped up the level even though it's not gonna make that big of a difference. And of course, unpause the eye so they can hit me and I can get me buffs. We're gonna activate Empower and Mirage's free ability Eclipse for an absolutely massive damage increase. And then one more time, the best animation in Warframe. Her ever so lovely clones. Then you go, you aim carefully, and you go for a headshot. You saw that Corrupted Heavy Goon? He committed seppuku. He knew what was coming, and he just jumped off. He couldn't take it. That's how it happens, my friends. That's how it happens. Of course, you're gonna be able to one-shot these targets with a headshot. I don't know with a body shot, so if we don't know, what do we do, my friends? We do two things. First, we run the math, and then we test it to see if it actually lines up with reality, as the developer many times has surprises for. So let's go for body shots. Nah, not a hit, not a one-shot. Oh, that was a one-shot. That was a one-shot. That was a one-shot. Almost a one-shot. But of course, optimal way is to go for a headshot, and you will see that it absolutely annihilates whatever stands in your way. The Lex Prime may not be one of the most powerful secondary weapons in Warframe, but you know what? It doesn't have to be. And if you don't get it by now, why not? Then I guess I wasted my breath. As always, my name is Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you got any sorts of feedback for me, by all means, my friends, drop it in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below if you want to suggest any particular type of content. Now, in all honesty, I can't exactly promise you that it'll be done by next time, or even within a week, because these things kind of take a while to make. But what I can promise you is that I will be reading for each and every comment. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And if you love the content, hey, consider supporting us via Patreon or YouTube sub. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.